Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maximo and I'm here checking out Rally Copters. There are some really generically named games, and that is one of them. Like, that is amazingly generic. Come on. Nevertheless, through we go. So, we have a very bare bones game here. There's not even a settings menu, which I don't like that much, because I'd like to be able to turn off this music, but I imagine if I just loaded my own music in the background, it would work anyway. So, that's weird. So, what we have here is, it's a game a lot like Dust Force, a precision style game where the faster you are, the better rewards you get. So, we're going to start with, alright, we'll start with the beginning of Phase 2, because why not, right? So the idea is you have different helicopters that you unlock throughout the game, and they all have different types of, what's the word I'm looking for? Characteristics. So the Fly Wolf moves a lot faster than the Mosquito, but at the same time it's nowhere near as agile, and vice versa. And you get 4 helicopters throughout the game. I've only unlocked 3 because in about the hour and a half to 2 hours that I've been playing, I've unlocked about half the levels at this point. And there's different leaderboards for different helicopters, so I guess there is some sort of justification to go through and get the high scores. For some bloody reason, though, it's not actually... Yeah, I'm not actually hooked up to the internet right now. What's that about? Alright, there we go. Now it should load. So the weird thing about this is that for every score there is on the board, the times for the platinum, the gold, and the silver medal will actually change. So as soon as someone gets added to a leaderboard, so for example here, if you get added to a leaderboard, the times will change. So platinum, gold, and silver will go up and down depending on the people's scores and their times. So I don't know why they decided to do this, honestly. Like, I can understand the idea of wanting to encourage replayability, but there are actually trophies tied to getting the platinum, gold, and silver trophies. So I can imagine it getting really hard if enough people decide to play it. Not to mention that the game doesn't really have anything in the way of replayability outside of just playing the same levels over and over again. I mean, like, this is the sort of game where a daily run would do fantastically for the game's replayability, but it doesn't seem they want to add that. So anyway, we'll just go to Phase 10 in whatever helicopter I'm flying right now, and I'll try and swap between them, but honestly, it's going to be kind of hard to show the difference on screen. Like, you'll feel it when you're flying the helicopter, but honestly, it doesn't really make as much of a difference on screen as it would if you're actually playing the game. But anyway, here we go. We have the helicopter. I'm doing terribly, but I'm going to have to explain this one way or another. So we have this helicopter, and we move it around using the left analog stick. We can also flip using the... Whoops. You can restart the checkpoint and restart a level, and obviously you want to aim for the best time. So the idea is we can also flip, and if you flip with the best timing, with the right timing, you will actually go right through objects. So if you're going fast enough and something's coming at you and you flip at just the right time, you will avoid damage. You take damage from hitting stuff too hard, and you also take extra damage if your rotors take any hits. So you end up wanting to flip at exactly the right time in order to avoid obstacles. See, like, I'm trying to demonstrate here. There we go, see? So I am actually pretty bad at this game, I fully admit, but nevertheless, I will play it anyway, and I will attempt to be entirely impartial due to my own suckiness. There's also... This flipping also flips the direction you're facing. And depending on what direction you're facing, you'll actually go faster if you're moving forwards. Which is a nice idea, because it adds that level of precision that you get from a game like Dust Force. Well, it's not exactly the same level, but it's the same sort of idea where you got to make sure you're facing the right way after you do your flips, otherwise you will just be slowed down. In this game, every second counts, as we will see in a moment, because I'm pretty sure I'm close to the end of this level. You've also got this guideline that you can see on the screen, and you can turn that off by pressing the select button, although honestly, I don't know why you ever would. Almost had it. You've got switches to hit, and you've got... That was actually a pretty big waste of time. I'm going to turn my guideline back. Whoops. You've got switches that you can hit, and there are some somewhat interesting puzzle mechanics that they have going for it. Like, what's the thing? Like, there's this one level in the first chapter where there's a bunch of checkpoints on a spinning globe, and you've got to work your way through the same set of obstacles a few times, and despite the fact that that sounds actually really boring or repetitive, it is actually a nice little thing. A nice little puzzle trick. I do quite... And there's also these crushes here. And I do like the graphical style. Admittedly, it's rather minimalistic. Right at the end, too. It's rather minimalistic and... Oh, God damn it. And it could really do with a bit of a... Well, actually, no, it really couldn't do with a bit of a channel, because I actually did tune it up as part of a patch. I'll go on to the next level. I really should have swapped helicopters there, but whatever. It could do with a bit of flair, because the game does look fairly generic. I mean, there's nothing here to really separate this from any other sort of... Oh yeah, I almost forgot about the dive move. If you hold down on the right analog stick, you do a dive, which is obviously another speed gaining trick of sorts, but you do run the risk of running into stuff. And I do wish it just had a little bit more of a unique visual flair. This is a bad idea. Yep. I wish it had a little bit more unique visual flair. Because I find the game to be relatively generic in its current state. That was ridiculous. I always have trouble with these things. See, I suck at this game, honestly. It is simply just a matter of timing. When I first looked at this game, I thought it was going to be a lot like that PS1 game, Irritating Stick. And those sorts of games where you have to navigate the stick through a series of really tight levels. But no, it's a relatively free-form game that rewards carefulness and precision and speed. So I guess it worked out better for that, but... Yeah, I would like to see more... I guess the word I'm looking for is detailed graphics style. I mean, like, the graphics do have detail. I guess it's just more uniqueness, more character of its own than just a typical virtual reality graphical style. I mean, it's rather strange. Also, you do get bonuses at the end of every level if you can do things like land properly. And of course, it just takes it off your time. So I think I'll swap to the Flywolf for the next few levels. The Flywolf moves a lot faster, but it's a fair bit bigger, so it's harder to navigate. Also, it's actually surprisingly hard to time your dodges right, especially when you have to do 2 in a row. Come on! God damn it. Also, you got to remember what direction you're facing, because you can't bloody phase. Fuck it, I'll take the long way around. You can't bloody phase in the direction that you're already phasing, but nevertheless. I'd also like to draw attention to the game's soundtrack. It is also relatively generic. I mean, listen to this music for a second. That's the same sort of music you get throughout the game, and it really doesn't fit the sort of electronic style that the graphics are going for. I mean, this is a game that would benefit really well from electronica. I mean, like Pumped BMX. Like, Pumped BMX's soundtrack would be a lot better fit for this game than it would be for Pumped BMX, strangely enough. Not very often you get to make that sort of comparison with two games that came out in the same week, but nevertheless, I just did it. And it isn't bad, really, and I mean, it keeps you focused at the very least on what the idea of the game is, but at the same time, come on, I touched the checkpoint. At the same time, it's just surprisingly strange as a choice for a soundtrack. So the game isn't extraordinarily precise, So you don't end up focusing too much on being extremely precise with your movements because you can't control the exact angle that your helicopter's going at. Which is rather unfortunate because it would be nice to have some sort of way to like manually change the rotation on your helicopter so that you would end up having another element of precision to deal with. I do suck at this. I fully admit this. But to be fair, if you are looking for a game that's about precision and getting to the end as fast as possible with no real context around that idea, then Rallycopters isn't too bad of a choice. It is relatively generic and doesn't do anything that's particularly mind-blowing with its gameplay. But at the same time, it's actually $12. Or at least that's the price on the store. And just, honestly, $12 seems like a bit too much for me, personally, for Rallycopters. Since the game doesn't really have any sort of way to keep you coming back outside of just playing the same levels with different helicopters, which is a weird way of doing it, but I guess it works. The game would be served a hell of a lot better if it had a level editor, or maybe a daily run. Don't know how the hell I managed to dodge that. I mean, sure, what's here is perfectly fine. It's not that amazing, and it probably won't last forever because I've been through a fair amount of the levels. Let's go to the little bird. I've been through a fair amount of the levels in the 2 hours or so that I've been... Oh yeah, this is a flag run. I might as well show this off. So the idea of a flag run is that this is what you get to test the new vehicles with, and you collect all the... If you get to the end, you get the helicopter, but to earn your wings, you have to get through undamaged with all the flags, which is actually a lot harder than it sounds. I don't even know what the wings are, but whatever. It's not hard. You can get it done pretty fast. So it's just the game doesn't do anything particularly special. I mean, what it does fairly well, and it performs pretty well too. I have noticed a couple of slowdowns, but they did do a patch that helped with the graphical styling, and I imagine that might help with the... It might help with the game's speed as well. So, mostly it runs fine, and it's perfectly competent at what it does. I don't think it has enough to have people considering coming back to it after a few goes of it, honestly. If it had daily runs, or if it had things like, yeah, so you collect all flags and finish it undamaged. If it had just something else to try and increase the longevity of it, then maybe I wouldn't have so much of a problem with saying wait for a sale if you're considering picking it up, but it's just for a game that doesn't do anything particularly amazing, and considering the amount of games that are out on the Vita that are simply absolutely fantastic at... Oh my god, I don't think I've actually played this level yet. And considering the amount of games on Vita that are coming out soon, paying $12 or $13 or something like that. It's like $11.99 or $12.99 or something. Paying $12.99 for a game that's only somewhat relatively competent at what it does, if not a bit ununiform in how it handles stuff, like the soundtrack and the graphics just really don't make... I just got a Steam friend request, that's weird. Just a... Bugger me. It's just weird, the game being so ununiform with the graphics like this and then the sound being like that, and yeah. It's not a bad game, really. It's just competent. It doesn't do anything particularly interesting or particularly amazing with its mechanics, but it's still worth playing once it goes on sale, I guess. I really have trouble phasing through these at exactly the right times. Because phasing does work, you just need to time it right, but I think the game doesn't let you phase like more than once in a really short period of time, so you need to be careful with your phases. There we go. And I went the wrong direction. Go me! Yeah, I'm definitely going in the wrong direction. Alright, this way. I'm an idiot. Oh yeah, you do have these split paths, and obviously red means danger, so this is meant to be the easier path, and I'm still screwing up, so... Take that how you will. Bastards. So it's enjoyable, outside of the fact that the music choice makes no sense, the graphics are a little bit... Well, the presentation just in general is a little bit generic, and... I've got to hit that switch again, don't I? And the fact that it just doesn't do really anything particularly great to justify the $12 to $13 cost that it's got going for it. If they added a daily run, or just something to increase the longevity of the game, then I would have a lot less of a problem saying it's worth picking up, but just right now, at the moment, not really worth it in comparison to other games that are out. Once it goes on sale, though, I don't really have a problem with saying go take a look. Yeah. It just doesn't do anything particularly amazing, which means I can't really recommend it for $12 to $13. If it was sub 10, if it's like $8 as a normal price, maybe that'd be a lot more worth it. But yeah, just not at 13. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.